Hey, everybody. And just like that, we are back for season two. I am so excited to be back with Pulling Back the Rug. And listen, when I tell y'all, we have an episode that is going to be mind blowing. Go ahead, get your popcorn, get ready for this episode, okay? So, tonight, I have an amazing individual who, look, I've been knowing him a long time, known all over Chicago. Good Barbara, man of God, all of that. He gonna tell you about that. But on tonight, I have none other than the one and the only Mr. Angelo
Amen, amen. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm elated to be here to be a guest on your show. This is a premiere episode. Am I
It
right?
is.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So I'm ready to
You
get down
are
into
the
the
first.
conversation. Hopefully, it's therapeutic what we're talking about to bless me and bless someone else. So
I'm almost
very
certain
excited.
that it is going to be.
That's good
I'm
stuff.
really, really excited. And so let me just give a disclaimer right now, y'all. Get you some tissue because I'm probably gonna cry. He probably gonna cry. But on a serious note, tonight we're going to dig into a very serious subject, which is life after death, survival of a preacher's kid. And I don't know how many PKs we got, but we know that being a PK, it comes with a lot of responsibility. And so I know you've been a PK what your whole life?
My whole life, born and raised as a PK. Only knew my parents as pastors. That's it. No
Wow.
life before that. I was born right into the role of a preacher's and pastor kid.
So you just knew you was gonna be a man of the gospel.
Well, I didn't know. I kind of was told before I understood the whole Christianity, the whole following God and going to church. It was just something for me to do as a child.
Right.
But I'm glad my mom brought us to church and didn't just send us. So
Right.
that's all I knew was God and church because my mom was a pastor at church as well as at home.
Right.
So that's all I saw. She was the same way at home and at church. So that's all I ever
Definitely.
knew.
And she served for how many years?
We celebrate we in our year jubilee. This year's 50th year. So
50th
we've been
year.
we've been in celebration all year. So we excited about 50 years.
Wow. So
50
let's get
years.
into the topic.
Hmm.
Life after death. And I know somebody watching probably like, why would you choose that? So you started out saying your entire life, all you knew was your parents being in ministry. And when your dad left,
Hmm.
that left, of course, a void because all you knew was that upbringing, mother,
Right.
father. Then you're doing ministry with your mother,
Hmm.
going with your mother, traveling with your mother,
Right.
in church on Sunday with your mother, and
Right.
then all of a sudden things change. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, things didn't just change for me. They changed dramatically for me.
Yeah.
It was a life changing situation that I had to face. That, if I can be really transparent and honest, it's something I never prepared for.
Yeah.
Like I had lost my dad, I lost all my brothers, I lost my nephew, and I'm the baby boy. And I was always a mama's boy,
Yeah.
literally a mama's boy. She taking out garbage, I'm following her.
Yeah.
She coming in the house, I'm following her around the house. And it was just ironic that God would have it that everyone before me would leave and I would be the last one standing with my mother
Yeah.
and in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And the blessing of it is I didn't know what I was holding on to as I was following her around as a child. But I didn't know I was holding on to her destiny.
Yeah.
Because if it was my brother, he's passed on. So it couldn't have been him holding on to the destiny.
Right.
It couldn't have been my other brother.
Right.
And then when I lost my brothers and I lost my dad, it was a void, but my mother was so marvelous in her walk with God that she filled in that void. So I didn't really have a breakdown by losing the men that was around me and my family.
Yeah.
My mother covered me, and I wasn't able to break because I had mama's shoulder.
Right.
And mama understood things on a brighter scale than I could understand. So she helped me understand and get through the grieving process of losing a father, which was a pastor, and my brothers and so
Yeah.
on. So my strength come definitely from my mom. And when I was following her around, I didn't know I was walking in her footsteps and one day would be here with you talking about this.
Yeah.
So
And mom is ministering, going, doing.
mhm.
And then all of a sudden, God decides to call her home. You said, I wasn't prepared for it, had no clue. So was it one of those times where you felt like mama may be sick, but mama coming home?
Well, it was kind of like this. Like I mentioned before, I lost my dad, my both brothers, and my nephew. And I also been a victim of carjacking twice within 1 year. So I
Wow.
faced death myself.
Yeah.
Guns in my face. The gun went off, shot me twice, and
Wow.
but God had a mission for my life that I didn't understand at the time. So you can put all of that in one basket. The
Yeah.
death, the sorrow, the grief of my father, my brothers, me having a life-changing experience, my nephew, all of the men gone around me. All of that in one basket did not prepare me or compare to the loss of my mother when she passed on.
Yeah.
It was a pain that I don't believe they have a word in a dictionary that can describe it.
Yeah.
It's something you have to go through, and I understood when the Bible talked about the sting of death
Yeah.
and how it stings, and I felt that sting, and I'm telling you, it's still piercing me to this day. It's
Yeah.
been a little over 2 years, and steps.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw my mom shed a tear was at my dad's funeral because I sat by her. That's the first time I saw her cry,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a sign of weakness. But to me, I had never seen that before. So I was staring at her the whole service like, my mama cry? I literally never saw her break.
So that's how you are.
That's how I have to be because I was following her without knowing it as a kid, started
So
from a kid.
how are you making it now? Like what is a day to day for you like now?
Wow, that's kind of tough. Every day seemed like it just happened yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't get past yesterday. So it's like every day is just so fresh. And the only thing really keep me now is God
Yeah.
and my relationship that she led me to understand who God was.
Yeah.
Before I knew it was God, it was mama. My mother was the only replica of God that I even knew. As
Yeah.
a child growing up, you don't really understand God the way it's taught and preached in church. You
Right.
go to church, you just having a good time. You're a kid. You see
Yeah.
the church family. You
Yeah.
fellowshipping with the kids. But I didn't really understand who God was until I had my own personal experience with him.
Yeah.
So dealing with all of this stuff is hard every day. I haven't even, man, this is something. To this day, it strikes me so hard. I haven't even read my mother's obituary yet. I haven't opened her obituary and read it yet because I don't have that strength yet. I haven't been
That's
to her
deep.
office at church, and it's been over 2 years.
Wow.
I see her picture at church, and I'm hoping she come out the office Sunday morning. Oftentimes on Sunday morning, I come in. I'm a musician as well. I have on my glasses. Then I look over, and she's not there. I have to put them back on after I take them off because I don't want to see nobody see me breaking.
Yeah.
And I have to get in the habit of, okay, you're going to be okay today. It's a rehearsed thing I have to do every day to prepare myself that she's actually gone
Yeah.
because I never prepared to know I would not one day have my mother.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't sick long. She went in the hospital on Monday, and she passed away that Thursday. And me and my other sister, my older sister, Lisa Patterson, we was talking Wednesday, and I was talking about I'm going to go buy her some new linen for her bed, and she should be home by Saturday. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then we got that call, and she didn't make it that Thursday. And I tell you, I feel like my life had stopped. Not paused,
But stop.
stopped. I was leaving the hospital after we left my mom in the room, and I'm telling you, it's like I was walking through the corridors of the hospital, and this is the first time in my life I have experienced while I'm walking. I'm so numb.
Yeah.
I don't even know if hurt set in because I'm numb. I don't know how to think. I haven't been here before.
Yeah.
The first time I saw people walking past talking, just like they're going about their business in the hospital, and everybody was in slow motion,
Yeah.
and people talking and greeting each other, and I couldn't hear nothing. It's like I went deaf. They was in slow motion. I'm walking, my eyes open. I couldn't. It's like I was in
Yeah.
a twilight zone.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm slowly but surely coming down from that state. But the grieving, I think is something I'll always have to deal with.
Yeah.
Because that love for my mom and my pastor was something you can't prepare.
So let me ask you this, and then I got some questions for you. But for the child that struggles with respecting their parent, can you just tell them like the importance of having your parent, your mother, your father in your life?
It's essential. And even if you don't have them in your life, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your parents. So that alone is enough to respect them, because without them, there's no you.
Yeah.
Everyone haven't had the experience I had to have a beautiful mom that was a pastor that led me to God.
Yeah.
Some people have parents that was on drugs.
Yeah.
Some just in the street life. And some people feel like they don't respect their parents because of the way their choice of life is.
Yeah.
But it's very important, because your days will be numbered. The Bible speaks about days being numbered after
Oh,
you
yeah.
respect your parents.
Oh, yeah.
So, but a lot of those that don't respect their parents in that aspect is because they don't believe the Bible or even read the Bible.
Come on.
Because if they did have a relationship with
It'd be
God, and the
different.
only way to have a relationship with God is to read His Word.
Absolutely.
And if you read His Word, you will discover the things why you must respect your parents in spite of.
Yeah.
Because they're your parents. So those that don't respect their parents, they have to find a relationship with God. You have to.
Yeah.
And then you can respect your mom or your father that's not in a position in life that you may respect like you would if they was in a different
Oh, yeah.
perspective or walk in life.
Yeah.
So you have to get to a place where the first step is you have to find God.
Yeah.
Once you find God, you find the things that's equated with God, which is respect for your
Absolutely.
parents. Because some parents, they say don't I don't want to misquote it, but don't rise the strife out of your children.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
don't provoke them.
Yeah, don't provoke them.
And
Yeah.
we understand that, but even if they provoke, you still must respect your parents.
That's it.
Because without them, you wouldn't be here.
Come on. So I have some questions for you. So this is my first question. So as a preacher's kid, you were likely held to a higher standard. Like you probably had to do things that the other kids didn't do. How did that pressure shape your identity, and did it impact your faith's journey? Because everybody was looking at you. All eyes
Everybody
was on you all the
was.
time. Well, I ain't
That's
doing that
true.
because they ain't got to do it.
Well, see, that's a two-part answer. And one part, as far as being a preacher's kid,
Yeah.
it wasn't much pressure in the church world, so to speak, because I was just doing what I know to do, go to church and behave myself.
Yeah.
But I did notice the little privileges because I was able to go places everybody couldn't go. I can go in the pastor study. I can go into the
Yeah.
candy bowl in the study. And then guest speakers would speak to the kids, but they would really speak to the pastor kids.
Yeah.
And we was in the front row. We can sit where we want to sit. We had access to room. So I didn't know that was special as a child.
Yeah.
But growing up, I understood what it was to be a preacher's kid in church.
Yeah.
But the pressure, here's where the pressure of being a preacher's kid comes. Pressure comes outside of church. Because when you're growing up
That's
as a
good.
preacher's kid, you kind of a little shy because the preacher's kid was the soft kid.
Yeah.
So you had to put on this cloak of religion, so to speak, where
Yeah.
I'm a preacher's kid, but don't get me twisted.
Come on.
I know how to be in
Yeah.
the hood, too.
Yeah.
I know I'm tough, too.
I know what it is.
So that pressure really came from the outside entities outside of church. So you had your friends. You wanted to be one of the cool kids.
Yeah.
You wanted to curse like they was cursing, let them know, hey, I'm good, I'm
Yeah,
cool. So I can.
yeah.
So you did things like that. But fortunately, I really thank God for this because I was a preacher's kid. I wasn't pressured outside of the church as far as to doing things that would harm me. Like I never been high in my life, never.
Really?
No cigarette, no marijuana,
Oh, Lord.
no cigar.
Let
I
us
never
pray.
had a sip of beer in my life. I never even sipped it to try it. So the
Really?
pressure didn't come, never in my life. Never, ever have I been, I don't know what it feel like to be high. And that all come from my mom. It's like I didn't want to embarrass her.
I was gonna say. So what was it? Was it like a fear? Like if I did this,
Well,
you
I
will
grew up.
see her
I,
in
I
your-
grew up in
like-
fear. I grew up in fear that if I let my mother down or do something she wasn't really with, she didn't understand or whatever the case, I did something against her will. You know, my mother wasn't shy with the belt when we was kids, right?
Yeah.
So she would make sure we be in line. So I was really afraid. This before me meeting God, expressing myself through a relationship with God. It was my mother
Yeah.
because she was the blueprint for me.
Yeah. So
She
it was
did-
just a different type of reference. A reverence. I'm
Totally.
sorry, not reference. Just it was different.
Very different because all I had as a mother was a pastor. I never had mama and then go to church and then as pastor. It was always, my mother was always pastor. She was pastor at home. She was pastor at church. She was the same.
Yeah.
And I just, some kind of way I was drawn to how she was. And the pressure came was, I can't stand up to where she is now because I'm younger. I'm trying to understand this thing. So the pressure really came from outside to fit in. We want to be
Yeah.
cool and fit in. But at church, it wasn't no pressure at all.
So now that mom is gone and you have to fill these shoes now, you, your sister, both of your sisters, your family
Yeah.
has to carry on that legacy. How are you handling those shoes?
It's very difficult. I wear a size 10 and a half. Those shoes are 15 and a half. So they some big shoes to fill. But I'll tell you this, and we can be transparent here.
Yeah. Pull back the rug.
It's definitely difficult to minister and not call my mom to tell her how church was. I remember the first time I had a message, I was invited somewhere to speak. And I remember driving home and I called my mom's phone to tell her, we had a good time before the phone rang, I had to hang up.
Yeah.
And it hit me like, I can't do that no more. So that made my pathway that I'm in now more difficult than it would be if mom was here.
Yeah.
But what I have to rely on now is what mom instilled in me all of those years.
Yeah.
All the good memories and walking in her footsteps.
Yeah.
And I'm still in a position in life where I can't let my mother down. That keep me going. I don't feel like I want to embarrass my mother,
Yeah.
embarrass her ministry, embarrass the legacy.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have children out of wedlock. I don't have baby mama drama. I always wanted to keep a clean nose so my mom can be proud of me. And even after her death, I'm still striving to keep her proud of me. I have no other way to explain that, but my life is dedicated to God because of her. And because of her, I just will not fall. I can't fall.
Yeah. You
I
can't
get
fall.
weak. I slip, but I don't fall because
Don't
of her.
fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that though. You said I get weak,
Hmm.
but I don't fall.
Because we wrapped up in this thing called sinful flesh.
Yeah.
And before I had an experience with God, I met God for myself through experiencing, I really wasn't condemned in my flesh because I just wanted to do what made me feel good.
Do what you want to do.
And I wasn't
Yeah.
convicted. So when I came into a relationship with God, then I never knew I had to deal with it until I got convicted with my relationship. Because I wasn't convicted before I met God.
Yeah.
Because before I met God, I didn't have to deal with no convictions.
Yeah.
So now that I met God, now I feel more convicted on things that's
Like,
not of God.
I shouldn't have did that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm more conscious of what I do. I'm more conscious of my decision making. And now that I have a relationship with God, that's where my conviction came from. Before then, it was my mom. I didn't want to
Yeah.
get in trouble.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to be looking at me and be let down.
Yeah.
And that carried me until I got into a relationship with God. Now I just superseded that. But I
Yeah.
still wanted to make my mama proud. And that was my whole life is dedicated to doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So she won't look at that one child and say, why you? Why did you fall to
Yeah.
this? You know what I mean?
But I like that you said convicted, but not perfect.
Absolutely.
Because we're not perfect individuals. Thank God for his conviction.
Right.
You know, because we probably be messed up and doing a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, for
But
sure.
because of that conviction and because how you were brought up, you know, no matter how far you may go, God always brings us back in.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. When we talk about life after death, it can mean many things: spiritual beliefs, personal stuff. It could mean overcoming major loss. But what does the phrase mean to you personally, life after death?
That's another good question. What does that mean to me? I'm trying to learn how to cope
That's good.
with life
Yeah.
after death.
Yeah, that's good.
And I have to highlight my mom. And like I said earlier, it went back when I was a child. How I was the only child that would follow her around the house. So I have to put those things in perspective. I have to remember those little small things and how the mama's boy. And I didn't mind being a mama's boy at the time.
So you admit that you a mama's
Big time. But the pressure came from outside, so I didn't admit to it outside the house. But in the house and in church, I was a mama's boy.
Okay.
But I thank and praise God for that because I feel it was ordained for me to be a mama's boy, to walk in her footsteps. Because have I not been a mama's boy, I don't know where I would be today if I didn't follow my mother's footsteps.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, like I mentioned, I lost all the men that's around me, my brother, my nephew, my dad, and I'm the last one standing.
Yeah.
And I'm able to, with my sister, Lisa, to carry that torch that my mom left behind. Now, what if I didn't follow her footsteps and got caught up in the world? What if that bullet had my name on it and killed me?
Yeah.
What if the carjacking before it killed me?
You got shot.
How do I know I got
I
shot?
said I did not know.
Oh, yeah. I got shot, and then 8 months later, I got carjacked again. The guy jacked the gun back. He stuck it in my mouth. It was 4 guys. And one guy said, man, hurry up and shoot that N-word. And I had my fraternity stuff in the car from college. I'm a Kappa. So I had the Kappa stuff, and they thought it was some gang banging paraphernalia. They said, oh, he's such and such, shoot that. And the guy cocked the gun. I never forget it. He cocked that gun. He stuck it in my mouth. I'm telling you, I just stood there. I accepted my death. I just like, I'm gone. It was so fast, I didn't have time to pray. I didn't have time to repent. I didn't have time to do anything. But I remember that guy put that gun in my mouth. After he cocked that gun, I remember this one look on his face. He was biting his bottom lip. He was looking like this. And God held that trigger finger up. He did not pull it. He pulled that gun on my mouth. They jumped in the car and they drove off. And they might have been gone 2 minutes. Do you know I was still standing there just numb and shocked? I didn't even realize what happened, that I really just got carjacked because it just happened to me 8 months ago. And I'm standing there, lip leaking. And I'm just shocked. I'm numb. But I can reflect back on those things. And if I had not been for the Lord on my side, and if I not had been for me following the footsteps of my mother, knowing who God is, and knowing how to keep the faith in spite of, I would not be here today. If God didn't have a mandate for my life for this time and this moment, and if God didn't know that I was strong enough to handle the things that came, I would not be here. I didn't let none of that stuff turn me into drugs. Drug addict, turn me to the sitting at the bar.
Because that's a lot.
Because I felt like if I did do it, it would be okay because I feel like I deserve to express myself. I'm hurt. This happened to me. I felt like I'm okay to be angry. Who would say something if I wanted to go get high? I feel like I can't. Everybody else doing. I'm the one hurt. But God didn't allow me to have that taste in my mouth. He allowed me to just deal with the things, and I dealt with a whole lot of things. But this thing with life after death with my mother, it's something, if I can be honest, I can't deal with that by myself. So I have to maintain my relationship with God, even when I get to a place where my faith is wavered, right? I don't lose faith, and I'll never lose my faith in God. But sometimes we don't hear from God all the time.
I'm telling you.
And I said this last week, faith is no good unless it's tested. Because if it's not never tested, we don't never have nothing to worry about. And we shouldn't worry as believers. But sometimes God said you have to take that test. Every circumstance ain't the devil. Sometimes God would allow things to happen to see if you're going to yet trust him.
Absolutely.
So I have to trust God in spite of. If I hear from God, if I don't, I just got to understand that God is there with me even in a dark place.
Because it's moments where you go through things in your life, and I know some people, they don't like to admit this. I will, where you say, hey, God, where are you at? Like, I'm dealing with this and I'm dealing with that. Where are you? I know you love me, but this don't feel like love right now. But I love the fact that you maintained your relationship with him in spite of what you was dealing with. Like, you've dealt with a lot of death. And that, that's
and
to be
wasn't
commended.
like years behind each other.
Right.
It was close. And then my aunties and my cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, I became numb to funerals. Like, here we go again.
Yeah.
And then it make you fearful. Like, am I next? Like,
now, I'm happy you said that because a lot of people deal with that, Angelo. Like, am I next? You have so many back-to-back deaths. Like, God, well, how long am I going to live? You know what I mean? Like, am I going to die prematurely? That's so good because people don't like to talk about that kind of stuff. But it's real.
it's real, 100% real.
Now, let me ask you this. Many preachers' kids either embrace their upbringing or rebel against it. I know you didn't rebel because you just said it. Did you ever struggle with who God called you to be?
Oh, definitely. 100%. But here's the struggle. the struggle wasn't for me as to choose the world or choose God.
Yeah.
That never was my struggle. I'm not a bad guy, and I don't have a lot of bad history, right?
Right.
I never was like in a backslidden state.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have fun because this sinful flesh, you're away from college, you having fun, having a
yeah.
good time, but I never strayed away. But my struggle came when I was fighting against walking with God the way He called me to walk in my calling. So I rebelled against that, but not rebelling against God.
Right.
I rebelled against my call of God. This
Yeah.
is why, because I didn't want to find myself in a position where I couldn't still have fun and be saved.
That's what I'm saying.
So if I walk in my calling,
Yeah.
I can't go dancing. So it's like, I know the call is on my life, but just hold on. I want to have a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
But while God allowing you to have fun, He pulling you. So then it started happening. My struggles started to get a little light. Like, it's not a struggle for me no more. Like, okay, all right, you win, Lord. Oh, okay, you got me. I'm here. Click, click, handcuffs on. I'm on the Holy Ghost arrest. You got me.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the situation came when I did accept my calling. I was on the expressway. I called two people because I was just crying. I was driving home, and it just hit me. God just said, now, do it now. I was driving home. I called my mother. Man.
Yep.
I had called my mother on the phone. She was like, I was just crying on the phone. I was talking to her. I thought I was, but I was just crying. I couldn't get nothing out. And my mother, she's so anointed and so connected with God. She knew what the call was. And she just said, I know. It's time, I know. How did she even know to say that to me at that moment when I called her?
Yeah.
Because the connection was there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even say, I surrender. I was just I was so caught up because God had me in a chokehold. But my mother knew what it was, and she let me cry. She just said, I'm here. I know. She didn't ask me what was wrong.
Yeah.
Why you crying? Are you hurt?
Yeah.
Did somebody hurt you? You in
She knew what
trouble?
that was.
She knew instantly what it was. So that was my confirmation. And then my second call, I was still crying, and I was able to talk a little bit. I called my best friend at the time, Tony Titwell, awesome guy, awesome man of God. I talked to him. He said, preacher, it's been time. It's been your time, man. It's your time. So he had encouraged me.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, any fleshly desire I had before I got home was not an appetite of mine anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't have the need to go do anything, and I wasn't doing anything bad.
Right.
But sometimes the sinful flesh that we wrapped up in it have the word temptation attached to it.
Yeah.
But I had the strength to fight off any temptation the devil might have thought he threw at me.
Yeah.
So that was something, man. I'm sorry.
No,
Men
no,
ain't
don't
supposed
be.
to, men ain't supposed to be crying up here, but
Men are supposed to cry.
I
Don't.
just thank God for my mom and
Yeah. Yeah.
her relationship with God and my relationship with her, and just looking over our life and the proclivities that I've dealt with in life, the choices that I made, and
Yeah.
it was all because I did not want to let my mother down. That's pretty much the sum of my life. Before I met God, it was my mom. I didn't want to let her down.
Yeah.
Then when I met God through an experience, I didn't want to let God down.
Yeah.
Because once I met God through an experience, I said, this the God my mom was talking about all through my
Come
life
on.
that I didn't understand.
Come on.
So she put me in God's hands, but I was still holding on to my mother's hand. And one day, she couldn't hold my hand back.
Yeah.
And she just pushed me into God's care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in his care now.
Come
and,
on.
And that's it. That's it.
Whew. I just want to pause right now, and I want to just tell the person that's watching, the best place for you to be is in the hands of God. And this is the perfect place for me to say this. It does not matter where you are in your life. It is never too bad where you can't be in the hands of God. You always can run to safety. He's always there. I just wanted to put a plug right there. This deep.
Man, it's
Because
very
you
true.
are safe. You are safe. And I just believe you just sharing. I mean, I know, like you said, I'm a mama's boy. And when you've lost so many people, and then God takes the very person that is your rock, is your strong tower, is your strength, now it's like, okay, God, now what? But you're doing it.
I'm doing it on wings of faith
Yeah.
because as her son, I don't know where I'm at in life as her son.
Yeah.
But as a man of God,
Yeah.
I'm in God's care, so I'm in a safety place.
Yeah.
And I have to lean on that because I'm just a young man that want his mama back.
Yeah. And I just believe that even God is going to go and minister to the son, because I heard you, you're okay as a man of God, but as a son, it's that longing. But he's healing you. Even as you speak to other people, he's healing you. And I think that's the one thing you should remember. You're a little bit stronger than you think. And I know that it may not be times where you feel that way, but I'm telling you, you're a little bit stronger than you think. This right here, this is, oh my God.
I haven't had a good night's sleep in probably a year and a half after my
Wow.
mom passed. So many sleepless nights, sitting on the edge of the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, looking back at her obituary that's on my dresser that I can't read. And I'm feeling like this can't be real.
Yeah.
I dealt with the can't be real since she been gone.
Yeah.
And it's not all the way a reality to me yet.
Yeah.
So it's difficult when you everyone's shoulder. And then when you go home at night, you don't have a shoulder for yourself.
Come on.
And that makes my shoulders more broader because God had me in a place where I don't have nobody to depend on the shoulder because I'm the strong one.
Yeah.
So they have to lean on me.
Yeah.
I'm the only brother they have, so I have to be strong. I'm the only uncles my niece have, so they need me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I had my mother. And now that she's not there, I have to totally depend on God.
Yeah.
And there's no other options in my life. But while I'm dependent on God, he's shaping me and molding me not only to the man he wants me to be, but he's helping me deal with life without my mother.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm just moving by faith day by day.
Yeah.
That's all
And
I
do
can
you
do.
know how many people I'm sure people listening to you are going to be like, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. Because a lot of times we don't like to talk about the things that we experience because we don't want to come across as weak or,
Right.
oh my God, you supposed to be a man of God and here
Right.
it is that, no, we are human. And when somebody leaves us, these kind of things, they hurt. And so it's like, yeah, I struggle to be a preacher's kid. Now I'm struggling to be a preacher's kid without the preacher.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
Without
So,
the one that
yeah.
shaped you in your walk to become who God
Yes.
had you to become.
yeah, your biggest supporter, your biggest cheerleader.
Absolutely.
And you got to try to figure it out and do life.
Without them.
And these are the things that we don't want to talk about. And it's like one day they're sick, the next day they pass away. Now I got to figure out, okay, here's the funeral. Now after the funeral, you mean tell me I got to live without them? I got to go on as if nothing happened.
Absolutely.
And that's what we get entangled in. The acting as if nothing happened. No, something happened. Let's deal with it.
We put a mask on.
Yeah.
And what we do is, not just as believers, but as people that lost someone, their mom or parents as a pastor, we tend to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. But sometimes we have to remove the Band-Aid,
Yeah.
face the fact that it's a bullet wound, get the bullet out the wound,
Yep.
clean the wound out so it can heal properly, and put the gauze and stuff on it, stitch it up. We avoid that process because it hurts so bad to go back and get a bullet out of a wound.
Yeah.
Stick the needle in so it'll numb the muscle
Come on.
tissues
Yeah.
and then sort of. We avoid that, so we put a Band-Aid on it.
Yep.
And just like the title, pulling the rug back, we don't want to look what's up under that rug.
Come on. Because it
Because
be
it's
some
so
stuff up
painful.
under there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be some bad memories. It'd be some pain. So we put on this mask that we're okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna wear no mask, and it's okay for me to not be okay
Come on.
sometime.
It is.
And that's why I'm walking in, and I'm not gonna let no one, no situation, or no circumstances push me to the okay realm if I'm not okay.
If you not. Did y'all hear what he said? He said he's not going to let nobody push him to be okay if he's not okay. You just help somebody even with that.
Amen.
Because a lot of times people like, come on, get over it. You all right? That time that went by, I'm not okay.
I'm not okay. And it's okay to say those words.
Yeah.
Be honest with yourself. Be honest with God. Be honest with saying, I want to be okay.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just not okay.
Yeah.
And I'm being honest with myself, and I'm not okay.
Yeah.
This is very therapeutic for me because this is a conversation that I don't have with anybody.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will help somebody that was
And
a PK.
I'm blessed that you came to talk to me. So pull back
I'm
the
elated
rug
to be here.
because again, people don't deal with grief the same. Everybody's grieving is different. But for you to come on and to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm not okay. I have shoes to fill. I'm walking, I'm feeling them. I'm ministering, all of that. Healing, helping, preaching, teaching.
Absolutely.
But there come days I am not okay.
Not okay, and you're still broken.
Yeah.
You're not put back together because of time.
Yeah.
Now, understand, time heals a lot of things. But when you're talking about grieving and you're talking about your pastor, when you're talking about the pastor being a parent,
Yeah.
and that strong hold that you have with your parent and you lost them, not just a parent, but your leader, your pastor, the one that introduced you to God, the one that took you to God, it's a stronger hold than just, I lost my mom and she was out there in the streets anyway, and
Right.
I didn't respect her in the first place. They can get over it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But I understood that my mother was my life. My mother was the reason I did not make bad mistakes and bad choices in my life.
Yeah.
And when you lose that, you're in a dark place.
Yeah.
But I think and praise God, he created the dark. So he's in the
Come
dark
on.
place with us.
Come on.
He's there with us. He was in
Yeah.
the dark because he said, let there be light.
Come on.
So if he had to call on for light, it must have been dark.
Yeah.
And when there was dark, there was God, because God always been. So I
Always.
have to understand that it was God there with me in my dark place. And I would go to church and look in the corner. Then I would avoid her seat. I couldn't look at it, and I can't sit in it. I can't even stand close by it because it's a grieving process that God have to take me through and not people.
Yeah.
Because what happened when you grieving like that, or in this state that I'm referring to, is you will become angry. And not with God. I'm not foolish enough to get angry with God.
Yeah.
But you get angry with people saying the wrong thing. Or people
That's
saying,
good.
like you said, get over it, or
Yeah.
you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to be all right right
Come
now.
on. Yeah.
You don't feel how I feel.
Yeah. Let me
This
not be.
I want to not be okay.
Yeah.
And don't say the wrong word, because you're going to get something that you're not asking for, because I don't know how my anger going to respond to what you're saying, so to speak.
Exactly.
So you have to take that and console it, because you don't want nobody to point finger and judge you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was saved. I thought he was a man of God.
Yeah.
He getting all mad because then you got to remember that. And then you go back to the preacher's kid and the pressure, like, I can't do that because I don't want to be prejudged on my
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah.
So you have to swallow that. And then when you don't have an outlet for that, it eats up at you.
Oh yeah.
Because you're a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
And now you have to depend on God, because you don't want to blow up at the wrong time where everybody's saying, I knew he wasn't saved.
Yeah.
I knew it was something to him. I knew this. So you kind of isolate yourself. And then what happens is you want to be alone because you feel nobody understands.
Yeah.
But see, that's a trick place. Here's what the devil do. He'll let you be alone. He'll let you go to your house, and you don't even enjoy your home because you find yourself going straight to bed. You
Yeah.
kind of down and out. You don't want to talk to nobody. You don't trust nobody to say the right thing. Then you have to be tough. Then you have to be the preacher's kid.
Yeah.
Then you can't be the preacher's kid that's falling by the wayside because
Yeah.
how I feel. Now, here's the trick part of it. The devil will set you up, and you will look up, and you will find yourself in a depressed state.
Oh yeah.
The devil will minister to an idle mind and tell you, you don't got nobody. Everybody gone. You laying in the bed. You don't have life. You don't want to get up and go about. The devil told me these things. And I found myself for days not sleeping, just laying down. And I said, I think I'm getting depressed. So I had to come up out of Lollipop.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't be here. I don't belong here. Now, I'm going to grieve because I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But I can't grieve like this. I got to get up and be about my Father's business, because he's the one that's keeping me when I can't keep myself.
Yeah.
So depression will disconnect you from God. And I don't want to be disconnected from God. So
Yeah.
you got to lace your boots up, and you just got to run this race till it's over. Jump over the hurdles, but you got to keep going. And that's where I'm at now. I'm jumping over hurdles,
Yeah.
but I can't stop.
Can't stop. Won't
Can't
stop.
stop, won't stop.
Can't. So let me ask you this. What's next for you?
Naturally and spiritually,
Naturally, yeah.
I
Spiritually.
desire to be a happy married man
Come
someday.
on. Come
I have a
on.
wonderful princess of a daughter.
Okay.
I'm a single dad, full custody with my daughter, 100% with me, or my godmother or my sister, but
Yeah.
she's with dad. And I want God to, I want to be married. I want to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm preparing myself I am the provider.
Yeah.
So I have the house. I have the financial needs. I have the cars.
Yeah.
But I want someone to come in and make my house a home.
Come on.
I want to come in and smell bacon cooking in the morning. I want to come in and pot roast is on.
Come
I
on,
desire
pot
that.
roasted bacon.
I
Now
desire
listen,
that.
let me give a disclaimer right now. Don't y'all women start going to church trying to line up bringing no bacon and no pot roast,
Absolutely
okay?
right. But I do desire that, and I'm going to maintain who I am. I'm going to
Yeah.
maintain my integrity
Yeah,
of who God called me to be.
yeah,
But I'm in that place. I won't say I'm looking,
yeah.
but if I find, I'm open.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Well,
I
y'all
won't
heard
say
it
I'm
now,
out
don't
here
y'all?
doing
do it.
anything, but whoever God has for me is for me. So
Yeah.
I look for that in my future. I want to spoil someone.
Yeah,
I just want to be taken care of, someone I can talk to and even share my hurts with. I want to be loved for my imperfections, if that makes sense.
come on. Yeah,
I want to experience unconditional love, and not just with a spouse, but in the body of Christ. And I
Yeah.
know you can't please everybody.
absolutely.
You just can't do it.
Absolutely.
But I desire to please many as I can. Many as I can.
Now y'all heard it, okay? So first of all, let me just say this right now, okay? For all of you all who just all of a sudden said that this was your husband, the Lord did not tell you that, okay? Let me just put that out there. But I want to thank you for coming to pull the rug back with me. Like, it's amazing. Like, you help so many people
I
more
help
than you
myself.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the man of God, but you helped that son
Mm-hmm.
on tonight. And so you'll be able to sleep a little better tonight because you got it out.
I'll receive it.
You know what I'm
This was
saying?
very therapeutic
You'll
for
be
me.
able to walk a little lighter now because you got it out.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited about your future and what's next for you. And I
Me too.
believe that everything that you spoke over your own life
Mm-hmm.
is going to manifest. Now, look, if they start lining up, tell me, okay? Because I'm going to do another episode and I'm going to tell them,
We'll
leave
do a
them
part
alone.
2. Like, girl,
Part
that's
2.
what happened last
Exactly.
time.
But I really appreciate you coming because I know that this was sensitive for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you took a big leap, too, because you my season premiere.
Absolutely.
And I love shows where it's transparency and where we can just talk about anything. And when I tell you, you pulled the rug back for real.
That's
You
what it's
pulled
called,
it back.
pull the rug off.
So I just want to thank you.
I
And
appreciate
listen, to everybody that is watching, if you need some help or if you find yourself struggling with some of the things that Elder Angelo was talking about, listen, inbox me. We got hookups with counselors, all of that. And I'm sure you'll be willing to talk to people too.
Absolutely,
Right?
100%.
So you got what you need, okay? We're all helpers one to the other. You're not in this alone. If you find yourself in that depressed place, look, we going to come get you up out of there,
That's
okay?
right. We all in this together.
All in this together. And so until next time, look, there are a million reasons to love, but there should never be not one reason to hate. So until next time, this has been Pulling Back the Rug. Peace.